Jets Reserve. We're with you for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the luxury paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the eastern touchline, 12-4 the score with the first attacking opportunity.
Hello and welcome back to After the 80, your local source of everything rugby league. Joining me on the panel as always, with his team coming fresh off a big win yesterday over the West Tigers, breaking a month's drought, Anthony Bomber Breeze. Thanks for coming back on the show, Bomber.
No, it was a very good win by the Eels yesterday there. Got us 2 points. We had the Easter break there, but obviously rugby league doesn't finish over Easter there. We had games in the local comp on the Thursday night and then the Intrust over the weekend with the Jets winning and the NRL. So great.
Plenty to keep you busy.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, also joining us on the panel this week is the Westend Bulldogs A-grade coach, Col Huxtable. Thanks for joining us, Col.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Excellent. Well, it's a new addition to the Ipswich competition, joining us as a coach coming down from Burnett as an NRL development officer. How have you found coming down?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back coaching full time, which is something I couldn't do with the NRL. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, good to get into the season.
Westend's welcomed you with open arms as well.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a good club down there, and we're hopefully building to something really good.
Excellent. Well, also joining us on the panel today is the Ipswich Jets development officer, David Farlogo. Thanks for joining us on the show, David.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
Excellent. It was a good week for you to come on as well, with the Jets getting a good win on the weekend.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just a matter of the Jets sort of getting some momentum and a bit of gelling together. So it's great to get the win up in Cairns, and so the boys can turn around the season and get a few more wins.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that's the start of big things to come for the Jets. Let's jump into the action over the long weekend. And the Ipswich Jets got their second win of the season with a much-needed win over the Northern Pride, winning 24-10. That win also jumped them on the ladder to take 10th position, and Wes Conlon didn't miss a mark off the boot, converting 4 from 4. Bomber, the Jets looked very strong, getting back-to-back tries in the first 15 minutes, and was it just a matter of them getting off to a better start to a game? Yeah,
well, the Jets obviously this year have been traditionally slow starters there and have left themselves too much work to do in the second half. But in this game here, they travelled up there and they got off to a great start. Nat Neal, front row, getting over in the second minute of the game there, and they just seemed to just work from there. So that's it, the second try here, and there's only about 14 minutes gone at that stage. So.
And David, they were coming up against one of their former teammates as well in Kar Arwang in the fullback role for the Pride. It's an extra special win to get one against one of your old teammates as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a great occasion to go up against your old teammates. The boys obviously went up there sort of hungry and looking for a win, and they played well and a lot of enthusiasm and desire to get the 2 points and obviously play well. That's the main thing, and sort of kicking on from there.
It must be a tough test going up to Cairns like that, especially on a long weekend. I guess coming back from such a tough away game, that's going to give them a lot of confidence going into the competition.
Yeah, it is. We had a few tough games at home, and it was one of those games that sort of got away from us early on, like Bomber said, and the boys started out of the blocks pretty quick up in Cairns there, so they seem to hold their confidence and their game plan and managed to finish the game off, which was pleasing.
And Cole, what did you make of that strip there? Were they a bit unlucky not to win by a bit greater margin there? That looked a bit dodgy.
I think that it looked like the first man was the first contact and then the second man's taking the ball, but we'll leave that one up to Timmy.
Well, a good confidence boost as we've been talking about as well, and good to see a few of the forwards there backing up as well. They seem to be competing 100%.
Yeah, that big front rower looked like he did well. Looked like he's playing a bit wider than normal, but he looked like he was involved in a lot of things.
That's it, Nate Neal. He's got to back up with a hairstyle like that. You've got to play well to justify a look like a convict. Well, moving up to Townsville now, and the Burleigh Bears had a big task travelling up to Townsville to take on a very strong Blackhawks squad, coming off the back of their first win of the season last week over Tweed Head, so they had momentum going in their favour. After a tough battle, Burleigh took the 2 points, winning 20-18. Cole, this was a massive win for the reigning premiers, and it's 2 wins on the trot. They finally found some form, which is going to be important for them.
Yeah, especially against the Townsville team. I started my coaching career up there, so I know how strong they always are. Although they are the reigning premiers, they haven't started well this year, so it's yeah, it could be exciting things to come for Burleigh.
Is that disappointing for Townsville to lose at home like that?
Oh yeah, they love that fortress there. They get a big crowd down there all the time, and it's always very vocal, so they'll be very disappointed.
And with the long weekend, I'm sure it was a bumper crowd as well, so a bit disappointing for the home fans, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like it was an exciting game though, so.
Well, I guess there's still flashes of brilliance from both teams as well, as we see a bit of a runaway try from the Blackhawks winger. Bomber, good match to watch, but a bit disappointing for one of the ex-Jets, Carlin Anderson.
Yeah, well, obviously he's gone up there to further his career there. He thinks he'll get a better chance with the Cowboys up there, but they've got a great team, the Blackhawks there. But like we said earlier there, now that the Jets have had another win there, they get on a roll. And like we said last week, that was Burleigh's first win, and they've obviously followed it up with one of the top shots beating them up there. So. So watch out for Burleigh now.
That's it. Well, David, as we see a few more highlights from the game as well, Carlin Anderson was again one of the stars for Townsville, and he seems to have really grown into the Blackhawks structure that he's got over there. He's the leading point scorer currently for the competition. Do you think that was a good move for him to go up there and ply his trade?
I think because he's trying to make first grade debut, so he's trying to search for his place in an NRL squad, so it's a good move for Carlin, and he's obviously playing some good footy. We played Townsville I think a few weeks back, and he played well against us, and so he's obviously taken his good form from the Jets and taken it up to Townsville, and seems to be enjoying himself, which is the main thing.
Breakaway here as well. Unfortunately, he gets cut down, and that could have won the game for the Blackhawks as well. Be a bit disappointed about that.
Yeah. That's footy, you know. That's you win some, you lose some, but he seems to be enjoying his footy, which is the main thing, really. That's what you want to do in rugby league is have fun and enjoy your teammates and play good, strong footy. And obviously, if you come away with the win, that's a bonus. So yeah, it's good for Carlin, and I'm happy for him.
That's it. Well, it's going to be a good reunion when the Jets go up north next. Well, let's take a quick look at the rest of the round 7 fixtures and see how the ladder has changed over the weekend. We see the Jets moving up a few spaces, which is definitely what we wanted to see. Yeah,
well, they've obviously moved up 10th now there, and as we see the results on the board there, the PNG Redcliffe game, like they're going to be two of the top teams, and obviously PNG at home there accounted for Redcliffe there, and the one down the bottom, Tweed Heads, hadn't won a game there, and Norths were going really good. They were in the top 4, and for them to beat North at Bishop Park, there was a big result for them. So
you think they were missing Nick Arena?
Well, obviously he's been there. They've still got Chris Sandow there. But like I said, when you lose a halfback, it's very hard to replace there. Your structure gets all turned upside down. So.
As we look at the ladder as well, that does put a few teams at the top of the competition. As Cole, as you were saying before the show started, a few Melbourne Storm teams doing pretty well so far.
I think it's a big kudos to Melbourne and their structures. Obviously they've got both their feeder clubs on top, and obviously they couldn't even beat each other, so they're definitely having a good go at it.
That's it, and it speaks volumes for Melbourne Storm's depth as well when they get to dip into that pool.
Indeed.
As we see, the PNG Hunters, South Logan, Redcliffe rounding out the top teams there at the moment. The Blackhawks and the Devils not sitting too far behind, but Wynnum, Mackay and the Jets not too far out. Obviously, it's a pretty close competition at the moment. David, do you think the Jets will be taking a bit of confidence from the fact that there's still not too much ground to be making up yet?
Yeah, I think you would, especially after having a win after after 5 losses. So I guess you got to take a lot of confidence out and belief as well. So the players knowing that every week they go into a footy game that they're turning up, putting in the hard effort and coming with the win, especially in Cairns, and then coming back, to play local. I think we got we're playing out in I'm trying to think who it was. But yeah, anyway, it's just a huge confidence booster. It's been a long time coming, because I know the players have been putting the huge effort at training, and just all it takes is just that, the flick of a switch, getting that first win, coming back, playing local, and then sort of growing another league from there. So yeah, it's good on the boys.
feels great when you get the final reward, I guess, after weeks of plying your trade. It's good to get the competition points. Well, as we move on to the local league now, round 5 of the Rugby League Ipswich competition kicked off on Thursday night with Brothers taking on North's Tigers and the Goodna Eagles taking on the Westend Bulldogs. Warren, it was good to see 2 games of football on a Thursday night leading into a long weekend. Yeah, well, originally all games were put down for Easter there, but obviously the teams didn't really want to play at Easter. Obviously, it's a family time. So 2 of the games were moved to Thursday night there, and it was good to see. I went down to watch the Brothers North game, and there was a fairly decent crowd down there on the Thursday. Everybody had the next day off, obviously, so they got down there. The Canberra was pretty full. It was pretty loud down there. The game was a seesawing game there, and obviously North's got away with the win. And obviously the other game was Col's Bulldogs up against Goodna. He can probably tell you more about that. Yeah, but it was always a good clash between Norths and Brothers as well. I mean, they're traditional grand final rivals, 2014, 2015 as well, and both teams have been travelling well. So, was that a surprising win for the Tigers? Probably not there. Both of them are going probably much the same. Brothers haven't been in that much form lately. They lost to the Cobras down there midweek on the Wednesday, and only just got over the top of West End a couple of days later. So whether the third game in the 9 days, whether that had any spark on why they didn't fire, I don't know. But North had a bye in between there, so if you had a look, the teams that did have the bye come out and played well. So yeah. Well, it was a 26-22 win for the Tigers over the Brothers in that game, but unfortunately not the best result for you guys against the Goodna Eagles, who seem to have hit their straps now after a few missed starts at the start of the season. Yeah, I think the Goodna side is starting to get miles in their leg, and they're coming into form. Yeah. Bulldogs didn't really start well. We haven't started well in many games, so something we've got to work on. But we're thereabouts in the second half, so it's definitely we're definitely building to something. Well, as Bomber said, you gave Brothers a good run as well. It's been a pretty even competition so far. I guess everyone's still trying to find that match fitness and the losing the drop balls out of the game as well at the moment. Yeah, we led Brothers at half time, and then 4 errors coming out of our end late in the second half is what ended up killing us. So we feel we lost that for ourselves. So we're looking forward to playing them in round 2. Yep. Well, it'll be a little bit more polished from all teams as we head back from the break. I'm sure they'll be looking forward to coming back after a bit of a break after such a hectic schedule over about 8 days. Well, coming up next, we'll be discussing all the action from the Good Friday local clash between the Brisbane Broncos and the Gold Coast Titans, and the late comeback win by the Parramatta Eels over the West Tigers. All that and more here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, your local source of everything rugby league. Moving on to the NRL now, and on Friday night, the Gold Coast Titans came out fierce in the opening minutes of the game to score back-to-back tries and take a 12-point lead after just 15 minutes of the game. It wasn't too long until their old winger, James Roberts, scored back-to-back tries himself to bring the scoreline back to 10-12. Bomber, what did you make of the Brisbane Broncos comeback in the final few minutes? Yeah, well, obviously the Broncos are a professional team. They play for the full 80 minutes there, but obviously they were a little bit lacklustre early there. Allowed the Titans to get into the game there, and the Titans scored the first two tries after obviously bombing the first try there, as we've just seen. But then after that, they got away to them 2 tries there, which put obviously Brisbane back on the heels, but Brisbane just grinded themselves into the game and obviously got away with it at the end. Obviously, we'll see a little bit later on the charge there, Mitch Roberts. Yeah. David, would you say that's some worrying signs for the Broncos that they allowed the Gold Coast to get away with a lead like that, or is it more pleasing to see them run that score down?
I think it's a yes and no. I thought the Tigers played well, especially at the start there. Caught the Bronx off guard a bit, but credit to the Titans who came out firing. It was just a shame that they couldn't go on with it. But it's taken nothing away from the Bronx, who they show their class towards the end there and came away with the win.
Cole, I mean, it's been a little bit of a tough season for the Titans so far, but that's been largely due to their growing injury list. There's a few more to come out of this game as well. Do you think they'll start performing when they start to get a more consistent team together?
Yeah, I think that'll help them. Although it's given a lot of young kids an opportunity, and as you can see after that game, they are stepping up to the mark, and it was just a bit of Matt Gillette brilliance that got them home in the end. So good work to the Titans.
Has it been a little bit nice not having a bit of the Jared Hayne media circus for a while?
Yeah, I think it's good. Gives the young fellas to get into their game a bit more and start to build their NRL careers.
Bomber, what do you make of the inclusion of Nathan Peets this week? He's a big in for them as well, and a former Parramatta Eels player. You're used to seeing him do some good things for a team. Oh,
well, Nathan's a quality player there. He was talked last year about being the origin hooker for New South Wales there. He's a tough player there, and you can see as soon as he got back in there, up the middle there, they were very strong and all that there, and he plays tough too, so so he's only going to be a help. And like they said earlier there, with a couple of their other players coming back over the next few weeks there, that'll make them a lot stronger there. But obviously the young fellas have got to go, and they've gone all right.
It was good to see Milford back out in action as well, stretching the legs, although he passed it off to Roberts there, and obviously the hat-trick's probably a big talking point coming out of that game. I thought it was interesting that both teams seem to have swapped wingers since the last couple of seasons. You had Vito and Copley playing for the Titans, and you had Roberts and Mead for the Broncos. You think that would have been an interesting clash for the four of them?
No, well, like we said earlier there, obviously when you're playing your team that you used to play for there, you always want to, if you've been showing the door, you always want to play hard to show that, this is what you're missing out on. So, but they all performed all right. So
I guess that's a good time to bring a hat-trick for James Roberts, and that's really one way to show your whole team, I guess. Well, now moving away from all the Queensland Rugby League action, we'll speak a little bit about your team, Bomber, and the reason you're probably so happy today. The Parramatta Eels upset the West Tigers yesterday in a late comeback in the second half, securing their first win in 4 weeks. Josh Hoffman getting the try in the 64th minute to bring the Eels back within 2 points, and then Semi Radradra getting an easy try to push them in front as the Tigers looked to weaken in the final minutes. Bomber, that's a good way to spend your Monday off.
Yeah, no, it was very good. I mowed the lawn in the morning, so I got to sit down the afternoon and watch the win. It's been a bit tough over there. We haven't been playing badly, but obviously when you're not winning there, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in. If you're not getting the 2 points, we've got to wait to a good start, and then they hit back, and then we got another try, and then they hit back, and then they got another 2 tries after that, and we just looked a little bit down. But obviously, like they said, the half time is a different thing. After half time, like they scored the first try after half time, and then we hit back with 3 tries after that. This fella is his first game for us again, Kirasami Avar, so he performed really well, and obviously he should be retaining his position there. He's a big boy. He's
moved across from South Sydney Rabbitohs?
Yeah, he got himself into a little bit of trouble at South Sydney. He was in the South Sydney grand final team, so
good to see him doing well for a new club. I mean, good signs from both teams there, though. Mitchell Moses and Tedesco were playing quite well in that game as well. Nice tight game as well. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, I enjoy those tight games. You know, it brings out the best in the players, and then the halves obviously step up and show their class. So, you know, with Moses heading over to Bombers' faithful Eels, and you know, it's good signs for Para. So all it is, Tigers just need to obviously, you know, reset and get a new combo there in the halves there, and start again. So, you know, good game from the two clubs, and obviously Para will hope to kick on from there.
Cole, do you think we'll see a bit more of a consistent performance from the Tigers now that they've got a coach in place? I think a bit of the circus around the player retention at the moment is taken a bit away from their playing. Do you think they'll start to settle down a bit more as that starts to go away? I'm
not too sure about that. I think their outside backs, centres and wingers, need to really pick up their game. They've obviously, you can see in that one there was a big mismatch with Jennings and Idris with the speed, and then Ava'a had it all over the young Sully, which is an experience playing in the centres.
Yep. I guess depth of players is a bit of an issue for the club at the moment. Do you think that'll be pretty high up on Cleary's list to try and clean up?
Well, we can see what he did with the depth at Penrith. I think he'll do a similar thing. He'll start building that depth over the next few years. Obviously, he needs the chance rather than just the quick quick success.
I mean, the Panthers have probably got one of the best development systems in the NRL now. Do you see him trying to bring that kind of system in?
I think it'll be very hard. Panthers have been working on that for a long time, but I think he would try to model it. It'd be a smart move anyway.
Well, it's good signs for the West Tigers fans that have had some hard times to deal with lately. Well, let's hope for your sake, Bomber, that the Eels can back up with another win against the Panthers next week at home. I hear that's Col's team, so that'll be the two guys going head-to-head on the panel. Well, coming up next, we're going to preview all the action in round 6 of the Rugby League Ipswich competition and round 8 of the Intrust Super Cup. All that and more here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, your local source of everything rugby league. And round 6 of the Rugby League Ipswich competition will kick off on Saturday, seeing the Westend Bulldogs take on the Fast Fern Bombers at home. Cole, you're the coach. David's one of the players that you'll be coming up against. How do you see the game turning out between the two of you?
Well, we had a really good trial against each other. We ended up in a draw, so I'm hoping it's going to be another good physical game. We've had a bit of a freshen up with after the 3 games in 9 days, so we'll get back to training tonight and get into it.
Excellent. Well, I think all the teams were looking forward to that break after a bit of a hectic schedule leading up to it. As we see on Saturday, 6 p.m, Westend Bulldogs against the Fast Fern Bombers at Daniels Park. We've also got North's Tigers and the Goodna Eagles at Keith Sternberg, and the Eastern Cobras taking on the Swiss Bluebirds at North Ipswich Reserve, with the brothers earning the bye. David, you're going to be playing for Fast Fern this weekend up against Col's Bulldogs. How do you see the game going as well? You see another tight one?
I see it, yeah. See a good match up against Col's Bombers players there. So it's just I think it's just a matter of time. I think I spoke to Col earlier about the momentum that you need sort of from the start of the season heading into the back end, which is more important than the start of the season. But you know, at the Bombers, we're playing some good footy. We've got a lot of talent, good potential players there. So it's just a matter of getting those combinations going and sort of turning up on the day, wanting to play, and willing to do the little things. You know, talking about the 1%ers and efforts and sort of not letting each other down. So looking forward to it. So I can't wait.
Excellent. Well, Bomber, I won't put you on the spot and say who's going to win that between our two panel guests this week, but another couple of good games after that on the weekend. Yeah,
well, obviously the North Goodna game, that's going to be probably the game of the round. They're formed teams at the moment, a couple of the informed teams, so that'll be good. And Eastern Cobras will obviously be searching for another win against Swiss. They were a bit poor last game there, so obviously the Cobras have gone all right at home there. So they beat Brothers at home, and then they played really well against Goodna at home for about 60 minutes before the Goodna forwards dominated them in the last 20. So
and a good chance for both teams to take a game to North Ipswich Reserve as well. Brothers will be looking forward to that bye. And as we move on to the Intrust Super Cup, we've got round 8 kicking off with the winner Manly Seagulls taking on the Central Queensland Capras at home, with South Logan also hosting the Ipswich Jets. Bomber, what's some of your predictions for this weekend's matches?
Well, obviously the Jets there. I tipped the Jets last week, as you'll know on last week's show there, and they got up for a win there. But obviously Souths are going to be very tough at home there. But
coming off a 42-24 win as well, they'll be full of confidence themselves.
But obviously the next game down after that, the Redcliffe Sunny Coast game is probably the game of the round there. Redcliffe have been the form team all year after a narrow loss last week, but the Sunny Coast sit top of the ladder, so that's probably the game of the round. So.
And for you guys, any particular standouts there? I guess Burleigh and the PNG Hunters after a tight win for the PNG Hunters this week. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Sunshine Coast and Redcliffe Dolphins, as we saw the Falcons on top. So always a tough game against Redcliffe, regardless how they're going in the season. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Excellent. And David, you're picking the Ipswich Jets to go back-to-back this weekend?
Yeah, this is the match I failed to mention before, was the Jets versus the Magpies. So I'm looking forward to this clash because coming off the win last week for us up in Cairns, I want to see the response of the players sort of coming up against a sort of informed Magpies team. So that's a good challenge for us and looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, the Jets' next home game's next weekend as well. I guess if you get two wins on the trot like that and come back home, Jets are still yet to win a game at home, unfortunately. After the first round thrashing they gave to Tweed Heads, they'd really be looking to take some confidence out of that win against Northern Pride and build on that. Yeah,
for sure. It's just a matter of getting some games together and consistency, really. And those wins are obviously a bonus. So. Coming back home after 2 wins on the trot, hopefully, will be a huge booster for us. So, haven't had a win at home so far. It's it's pretty tough, but it's also important for us to get our first win at home, just to get the monkey off our back, so to speak, and sort of get momentum at home as well as away. So, I'm really looking forward to the boys sort of putting in a massive effort this weekend. And bringing it home in a couple of weeks. Yep.
Cole, I guess how much does that pick up a team when you get a win at home? I guess it's a big boost to do it in front of your fans. You get some of that momentum going.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we can experience that this week. Get our first win of the season. But yeah, we can see the crowd we had against Brothers and how involved they got in a narrow loss. So we're looking forward to seeing how good they go once we get the win.
Good to reward the supporters, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. And Bomber, this week, with the Jets getting the win on the weekend against Northern Pride, that was a big boost considering they lost Billy McConaughey during the week to an ACL injury as well, which is a huge loss because he's been in great form. But the return of Rory Humphries was at a timely point in the season.
Yeah, well, obviously Rory is a great player there. I think he was leading the Jets best and fairest after about 4 rounds last year. I think he had 3 man of the matches, and then he got injured, and he's been out for the whole year. So obviously with Rory back there, Billy's going to be a big loss, but I think Rory's going to be a big gain. So.
And important one at home as well, playing at home in North Ipswich Reserve. If you can get those wins away, they're traditionally they're harder games. So to come off the back of that, they'll be looking forward to coming back home.
Oh, well, you need to win your games at home because it's always hard. Even when you're playing the weaker teams at their home, they seem to pick up at home because the crowd seems to fire up the team more at home there. So obviously they need to get a win, and obviously the Jets faithful need to be walking away with a win this week. So.
Well, the Jets like to play with a lot of passion, so I'm sure they're going to feed off the crowd when they get back to North Ipswich Reserve next weekend, which I'm sure the USQ team will be live streaming that match. But that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank my guests for coming on today. David, I'm sure you've got a big weekend of rugby league with the Bombers to get out to. I wish you all the best on the weekend, and Cole, I wish you the best against him as well. So it's going to be an interesting clash to see who comes out on top.
But also be remiss to not end the show with what happened with your nose here.
Well, I thought I'd get through without having to bring attention to it. You've probably all been wondering, I tried my hand at a little bit of skateboarding on the weekend at the coast and came off second best with some pavement. So, yeah, I'd like to have a bit more of an exciting story behind it, but that's the best. Thanks for bringing attention to that, Bomber.
We'll leave it at that.
Excellent. Well, from all of us here at USQ Springfield and the After the 80 crew, have a great weekend filled with rugby league. Bye for now.